I got divorced, got hired by the United States Postal Service, and have been dealing with all this really annoying shit. But what I wanted to call in about was I got really annoyed with the CDC and Joe Biden back in July when he had his whole fucking, I call it, my friends don't like this, but I call it the mission accomplished speech. Yeah. Where he said that we no longer have to wear masks if we're vaccinated. And then the CDC had come out with their recommendation that federal workers no longer had to wear masks if they're vaccinated. So what ended up happening is with the United States Postal Service, we got a letter that said if we were vaccinated, we no longer had to wear masks. However, our management would not inquire about our vaccination status. So what ended up happening, as you can imagine, is everyone just took off their fucking masks.
Right.
So I'm immunocompromised. I take a medication for psoriasis. So as soon as that came down, I went out and bought N95 masks to wear because I was wearing I was double masking with like a surgical mask and then a loose fitting cloth mask on top of it.
Yep.
And then as soon as they came down with that, I went and bought a lot of N95 masks to bring to work. And then they didn't reinstitute the mask mandate. Even our union was against the management getting rid of it. But then our union also is pushing back against the federal mandate to vaccinate.
Right.
So they just reinstituted the mask mandate about a week or two ago. So it's very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they did it too early. I think their thinking was that we can reward people with vaccines. We can
incentivize people to get vaccinated. But also sort of like bring some clarity because there's a lot of I think disingenuous voices out there. Maybe there's some others that are saying like, what's the point of the vaccine if we still have to wear a mask? Well, the point of the vaccine is that you have less of a chance of dying. And the point of the mask is you will add some inhibition to the spread of COVID. I would like to see more testing. Like a lot of the testing facilities around here have rolled up. It's harder to get tests, and you got to go buy like a $23 home test. Every day, not every day, but at least twice already. And my daughter's been in school for a week. Twice we've already gotten notices from the DOE. There is COVID in the school.
Well, that makes sense. And I listen to Michael Olsterholm's podcast every week. And one of the things he was saying is that there's no way to make schools safe. There's no, like you said on your program, the quality of masks isn't something that we're actively talking about. So children are being sent to school wearing all kinds of different masks. Yeah. They're not wearing them well. And I don't have children. I didn't have children before I got divorced. I have friends that have children. And one of the things I thought was interesting is I'm not a big fan of China's heavy-handed reaction to COVID, but one of the things they did before school went back was that they mandated parents get vaccinated because they seem to understand that vaccinating parents is more important than children because even though children can get it and the pediatric hospitalizations and stuff are going up, the negative outcomes are not as bad as they are with older people. And I think what you're going to end up hearing about is kids going in and out of schools with other kids, and they're in enclosed spaces for, 6 to 8 hours a day, and then they're coming back home to unvaccinated parents.
Yeah, well, that's the concern. And it's also, there's a lot of workers in schools who I don't think there's a vaccine mandate, at least not in the context of New York. I imagine it's not the case in other places. I think it's more often than not, parents are giving it to kids. And then it's possible kids give it to kids and then it goes home to parents. But yeah, I think it was a miscalculation to do that. I think they got out ahead of their skis. They thought it was over and they didn't understand the concept of variants and whatnot. But it's also you know, novel coronavirus. It's, you know, it's also, you know, a once in 100-year pandemic, at least.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
And I've been talking to friends, and I'm like, I wish the Biden administration would do something to educate the public, because as much as a shit show as those press conferences were with Fauci and Bricks, because you never knew what the fuck Donald Trump was going to do, they provided people with some sort of like information, and it was obvious from polls that people trusted Fauci. And then they got in office and they didn't do that anymore. And I was like, what the fuck?
Well, my hope is it appears like the Delta variant, at the very least, the rate of infection in most places around the country is going down, or the rate of increase, let's put it that way, the rate of increase is going down. So hopefully that's burned through, and then, you know.
Well, that happened last year in the early fall, and then we went into the winter. And, you know, that's when everything got really hairy because people were indoors. And the hot spots right now or over the summer are places where it's hotter and people go indoors because of air conditioning. So it's like, I would expect to slow down through September and October like last year. But even last year, because I'm immunocompromised and I was trying to date, once November rolled around, I'm like, well, I can't meet people at restaurants outdoors.
I know.
I'm going to shut down dating. I'm just going to, slam the brakes down because this is too risky.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hang in there, man. Appreciate the call.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.